This is your time. You worked very hard to get where you are, an inspiration to many, a mentor, a rainmaker, and a successful boss. But the one thing you've never done well is now the one skill you have to learn: public speaking. Great leaders throughout time have always shown their power from the stage. Now is the most essential ability for anybody to be seen as a change maker, industry expert, high achiever, or thought leader. Do you have a fear of public speaking? Are you missing out? Does your tribe need a chief executive officer who can command and motivate from on stage? Is your message getting lost because you need to be able to present from conferences, events, and global forums? My name is Dave Crane. I've worked on stage for over 4 decades. I've done every kind of entertainment, and I train leaders around the world to find their voice, realize their power, and dominate their industry. I've worked alongside some of the smartest names and most respected business coaches in the world. I train world leaders, industry experts, and high achievers to speak. What do you need? Do you need to share an idea, a theory, a formula, or an invention? Do you need to position yourself among the best of your peers as a key voice to lead into the digital age? Do you need to elevate and grow your personal brand? Are you ready to share stages and concepts among the most innovative minds, producing viral videos and great speeches on a global scale? Most leaders who are great communicators fail with a microphone because they don't know stagecraft. They don't know how to engage, entertain, and motivate large crowds. But when you do know how, it's just like breathing.
Good morning, it's me, Dave Crane, and Speak on Stage, actually at the right time. Yes, I know. It's kind of weird because my time changes. There's no such thing as the right time. It's just somewhere between morning and bedtime, maybe if we're lucky. But today, everything fell into place. My laptop upgraded yesterday, my Mac, and so everything's installed. Things are running smoothly, and it's a wonderful day. Today's show is all about influence, and it's all about the future of influencers. And that might be something you're thinking, I don't care about. Why should I really be bothered about being an influencer? Well, you should be, for lots of different reasons, because especially if you're planning on becoming a speaker, the old business model of what makes a speaker has changed considerably, and it's not going to be in effect for quite some time, if ever again. So I was chatting with a friend yesterday. I was chatting with lots of friends yesterday because I can do it from Zoom, I can do it from here, I can do it from a show. And they were saying about, writing a book, I'm doing podcasts, I'm producing a series of CDs. Looking forward to getting it onto the market. And as I'm saying it, I'm saying, right, okay. I'm saying, another person was saying I'm doing blogs and, they don't really get much input, but I'm hoping somebody will discover them. I'm going, okay. And the point is that you need to have a strategy if you're going to do this stuff effectively. The world is moving on. The world's gone digital. We talked about it yesterday's program. I've been saying it for a long, long time. I've been saying digital is coming like a big tsunami that's going to wipe out everything that's bricks and mortar if you haven't got a digital version that sits onside it in cyberspace. And many people have been going, yeah, but I'm not ready yet, or it's too much hard work, or it's kind of working right now. We may well go back to the world that we're in before. We may well go back to the things that kind of enticed people, like going to a coffee shop and sitting with friends without wearing masks, or like going up to somebody and shaking their hand and hugging them. But I think that's good. I think that shaking hands bit, you're talking about maybe 5 years in some cases. Some people might never shake hands again. And apparently that came from the medieval ages. shaking hands, because it doesn't make sense. And how many times have you shaken hands with somebody and it's been clammy, you know, like wet fish, like that? Or they do that hand grip to show I'm more macho than you, and they squeeze your hand, and you're thinking, I didn't realize we're playing squeezy hand game. I can play squeezy hand game. I might have to use two hands, but I'll show you I'm as macho as you. But why are you doing this? I don't want to be your friend. I think you broke something. Things are rattling. No, today's show is not about that. Today's show is all about making you some ka-ching. Dollar bills, y'all. Again, let's get the sanitizer. Excuse me, just... Well, the thing is, we don't do that anymore, do we? If you did that with cash, you'd probably have to use sanitizer, because think about all the many people that have touched the cash. Unless you've got a biscuit tin under the bed. That's probably not a good strategy. Mind you, nobody's going to come in and steal it right now. So they will if they know you've got a biscuit tin. I haven't got a biscuit tin. I have none in a biscuit tin underneath my bed. We're broadcasting live out to LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me. To YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram, and to Periscope, which puts it onto Twitter. So I hope you're enjoying the show. And it's great to have you with me. As always, we'd love to know your comments. Tell me where you're commenting from, and let me know what you're thinking about the show. I always reply back as well, through the magic of the mind. And today's show, as I mentioned, is all about the power of influence. I mean, we'll be looking at a couple of different things. Pretty soon, we'll be looking at the difference between content marketing and also marketing content. So that's content creation and marketing your content. There is a difference. We're also going to be looking at the power of understanding what it takes to be a new influencer. It's not the same as the old influencer, and I'll be telling you all about the system as it goes. In fact, we'll probably cover this over a couple of days, and we'll talk about how you can actually change your position so you'll be seen by everybody as an industry expert and an icon. So there we go. I almost stopped the show then. I almost pressed the button that stopped the show. You'll probably go, oh, that was quick, Dave. You tease. Tassels. So with that in mind, let's go back to the beginning, and I'm going to share with you an incredible video created not by me, by Forbes, when they did a series of investigations. Not so much investigations, more like reports into what actually is an influencer. So I hope that you're enjoying the content. Please let me know, as always, by leaving your comments. They're very well appreciated. And it's a pleasure to have you with me here and Speak on Stage.
Well, hello everyone!
What's up, guys?
What up? On this episode...
Hi, and welcome to...
Hey guys, Natasha here at Forbes. This week on the Business of Influence, we are going to talk about what it means and what it takes to be a social media influencer. Let's do it. What is a social media influencer?
Oh, come to me first.
Someone who influences a large amount of people.
And can brand themselves.
And then being able to monetize it.
They're wearing that shirt, I want to go find that shirt, and I want to buy that shirt.
So in 2010, late 2010, I posted my first video. I basically do dance and sketches and vlogs. I try to do everything, I guess.
I'm Ariel Martin, also known as Baby Ariel. I'm 16 years old and I'm a social media influencer. On Musical.ly, I have about 18 million followers. On Twitter, I'm almost at 600. I have about 6 million. On YouTube, I have 2 million.
I started Fuck Jerry about 6 years ago on Tumblr. I noticed I could obviously leverage this large following, though I started different accounts like Beige Cardigan. We have like the pizza account, Kanye Doing Things, Crispy Shorts. So just created this whole network of accounts, and now we have about 20 of them, around like 30 million unique followers.
Well, like I think when people think influencers, they just think of the 11 people that have, 10 million followers. And I think the opportunity really is in the hundreds of thousands.
Right now, we define micro as really 5,000 to 100,000 followers. That 100,000 to a million is a mid-level influencer, and then a million and up would be a macro influencer.
I think there's a perception that, oh, that's easy. Like anybody could go and film a video and upload it to YouTube and be famous. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into this for a lot of people.
A lot of people don't understand that this is a very tough career, a tough life.
Social media is open to anyone. So anybody who is driven and feels like this is their passion and this is what they want to do with the rest of their life, of course they can come on and do it. But it's something that not everybody may be successful at.
There's a supply and demand issue. It turns out that there's a lot of attractive people. It turns out that there's a lot of funny people. It turns out that there's a lot of smart people. When you can choose from 700,000 fitness models to promote your, muscle milk, all of a sudden you've got to change the economics.
On next week's episode,
So there's a few different ways to make money off of YouTube.
Over 50% of the channels are generating over 6 figures.
The currency is its brand.
all right guys, thanks for tuning in and don't forget to subscribe.
So if you just join me, welcome to Speak on Stage TV. I'm Dave Crane. Every day I join you or you join me. I can never really tell. It's not the same, is it? It's not like I've met in a coffee shop. It's not like I've popped around your house. But you're kind of in mine right now, and I'm kind of in yours. And so it's a bit of a home invasion between us. Every day we broadcast to roughly between 1,000 to 2,000 people across all the different platforms. And so when you leave a comment and I share it, a lot of people know it's you. Well, they know that you posted it, and hopefully they'll connect and look for you as well on any particular platform. Now, I want to talk about influence because it's a really strange subject, and most people don't understand what it means. Most people don't actually get it wrong when it comes to the concept of being involved in it. When you are an influencer, the old influencer, as you saw there, was somebody who had a massive impact right across the globe, and people were following them like crazy. But I think that the old influencer, and it was generally because they were shiny and they had a real opinion on whatever they thought they were talking about, and they just got everybody following them because they're usually very good looking. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Quite young and sprightly, and they were pseudo-celebrities, but nowadays real celebrities. But do you remember, and you probably won't, but many of you will, do you remember when websites first appeared? And if you went to a website, they'd usually have a line saying, click on this and leave your details and we'll include you in our newsletter. And you went, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. A newsletter, I'd love to be on your newsletter. Yes, please. That means I'm going to get an email. I've just created an email address. My hair's sticking up the back. Why didn't you say my hair was sticking up at the back? For that, Dumbo, the elephant. No, it's not Dumbo, it's just an elephant, before I get sued by Disney. So you signed up for all the emails and you got sent spam, and the last thing you want now is for people who you don't want to send you rubbish. Your emails are always full of stuff you didn't ask for. Somehow somebody sold your content or your email address for blood to somebody else, and you wade through, has anything actually got my name on it that actually knows who I am? And maybe you find one thing, and it's a bill. So that is the nature of what emailing has kind of become. It's even harder now, people in lockdown, so they're just ignoring the fact that they don't want to open emails, and it's really difficult for the companies that create emailing marketing to actually get traction and retain people. So influencing has changed dramatically because it's not about getting clicks, nor likes, nor loves, nor comments. And you're saying, but Dave, that's what an influencer does. That's why people invest money into them, because they know they're going to get so much. Yeah, that's the old way of doing it. If you're smart, you're going to be thinking about something different, which is becoming a micro-influencer. That micro-influencer has a much smaller group of people, but those small group of people know exactly who that person is and what it is they do and why it's important that they follow them. And they also get involved with that person because that person will come back to them. If I had 1 million followers of this show, which one day may happen, I'm not bothered if it doesn't, to be honest with you. If I had 1 million followers of this show, you think I could reply to all the comments that are coming up? No, I couldn't. So the personal touch has disappeared. You couldn't get directly to me. But right now it's a kind of magic time where we've got a symbiotic relationship. I share with you great content, you come straight back to me with your thoughts on it, and we go back and forth, and you grow at a good rate, and I get to connect my tribe to get bigger and more connected at the same time. So it's important to know how to do that. We will go more in depth with this over the next couple of days. So if you're going to be taking a weekend and saying, Dave, don't do all that over the weekend because I'll miss it. Yeah, you will. And you're going to say, can I catch up with it? Maybe you can. Make sure you connect with me on all the different platforms, by the way. On Twitter, follow. On Facebook, friend. On LinkedIn, that's follow again or connect. And on YouTube, subscribe. Do it. Press all those buttons because I'm going to be telling you how to make a ton of cash in the next couple of episodes as well. But you just have to tune in. On YouTube, you can catch everything, even old episodes, easily. But other things disappear so quickly. And does that mean that you shouldn't be using them? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that you have a quick splash of impact, but then as people start following you and want to find you, you've got to make sure there's a place that they can find you. And that's why YouTube isn't a social media platform, not the way that the other ones are. It's actually a library for keeping your stuff. That is a completely new conversation, but for many of you who are quite advanced in content marketing or speaking, you'll be going, that makes sense. Okay, let's get into it. The difference between content and content marketing. This is actually quite a lengthy section, and it's brilliant. And I've created it. I'm actually not creating it. It was created by Julie McCoy, but it's very important that I share it with you because it's got so many gems in it. Now, let's get to the very beginning. What does content marketing really look like? Content marketing is about creating something that people will associate with you. So I've got lots of friends, especially on LinkedIn, who've got much, much bigger groups of followers than me. I've got 62,000 on LinkedIn, which is not bad. It's better than your average person. But I've got friends who've got millions. Seriously, millions, several hundred thousands, all sorts. Now, the difference is, does everybody who follows them actually want to buy from them? Now, that might not be important to you. You might have a job that pays everything. But if you're going to spend all that time building up that brand, don't you want to monetize it? Don't you want to have a way of getting finances from people to connect to you, and then you can sell to them and grow them at the same time, because it's always about them and never about you. So therefore, your content has to be a reflection of you. And we'll be talking about how to do that in the section on how to become an influencer a little bit later on. But let's just look at the content. Your content should be really about doing the stuff that people can find and associate with you. So a couple of samples are given here, but I'll give you different examples. If you're, for instance, a coffee shop, you should talk about the ability to sit down and have a coffee, the types of coffees available, how they get made, the taste of coffee, the social life of coffee drinkers. You know, the things you could do on Wi-Fi while you're bored in a coffee shop on your own, waiting for somebody to arrive. These are all great bits of content, but they don't lose track of who you are and what you do. Now, the thing is, there's a few key things, and this is great because I read this morning. That's why I decided to go through this particular article, because it's brilliant. And it's in Entrepreneur magazine, entrepreneur.com. Once again, this is written by a very good journalist, Julia McCoy. So you should check this out to catch up more after this. So, first of all, put your audience first. You and I have had a relationship now. This is actually my 21st episode on the trot, where I look after you first. I'll talk about me sometimes on occasion, but only because it has a relationship with something that's good for you. I don't go on about me. That's not my influence. Nobody cares who I am and what I do unless it can help you get there further. You make sure that everything's linked back to a problem or a goal or a solution or a way it can be monetized. You don't often promote your own brand. Well, I do a little bit with Speak on Stage. Why? Because I think that it's a really good product that can help you. But I only make the emphasis on you, and there's no real pressure. Apart from the fact I just talk about it quite a lot, because I think speaking is a martial art that 9 out of 10 people are petrified of, but those who do have it end up running large parts of the world because they communicate better than all the smart people who just can't say anything. Okay, you attract leaders to your turf, and readers, viewers, whatever it is, 70% of stuff online is actually video. So readers isn't quite the thing. I was chatting to a guy yesterday, really smart guy, really intelligent, well-learned, and he's been writing blog posts for 5 years. Without much traction, but he doesn't really want to do video, doesn't really want to do podcasts. Well, you've got to go with your audience. What does your audience want? Where are they? I would have written this as a post in the old days, but if you put it on video, it's immediate. And you get a ton of information that comes through, and hopefully a very entertaining fashion. That wasn't my reaction to the coffee. That was a noise of an elephant. Rewind it. It's not very good. So, you also get published consistently and continuously. I do this show every single day and use metrics to measure and optimize. So all the time, every day, you'll find something different I'm twisting and making better. And you'll find that as you go. Okay, so there's 11 things you've got to master in order to become more effective at these content types. So there's 11 different content types you can think of. I'm going to finish this section by reeling them off. You might want to get a notebook and pen and start writing them down, because every single one of them is worth ka-ching. Sanitizing your hands. So first is blogs. Blogs, as you know, is basically writing your personal diary about a subject or about a thing and sharing that with people so they can get it on search engines. If you haven't done it with a search engine optimization strategy, you're wasting your time. It will never be found. People are so lazy now, and I don't mean in a horrible way, it's true. They just go to the first 2, maybe 3 pages of Google and then change the keywords. If you're not on the first 3 pages of Google, the odds are you won't be found by anybody ever. So that means you're going to pay for it, or it means you're going to be really smart about how you produce it. And the problem is, that's even worse than that, is it used to be that you just had to look for people in your local region. But now that we're in lockdown, why does anybody care about where they are locally? More interested in where they can get it at the best price in the world, because it can arrive through Amazon or through some delivery service in a day and a half. So you really have to be very sharp at this. Okay, next up, I want you to look at case studies. Case studies are examples that you can share with people about things you've done and people you've worked with, which are great social proof. And they also reverse engineer how things get done effectively. Ebooks and emails. Ebooks are writing down the content. I'll tell you how to do ebooks, and all this stuff at some point I will cover in this show. It was in one of my special sections, or I'll do it blatantly in Speak on Stage. Emails is a challenge right now for many people, not least because people don't like doing email. So for many generations, it changes. The older generation, I say being 52, I'm a Generation X, but baby boomers who are a generation slightly older than me, emails and text. For my generation, maybe email, more likely to go WhatsApp. And for generations, millennials and so on, it changes depending on the technology. I get tons of inquiries from Instagram. People just contact me on Instagram, often on LinkedIn as well. But that's old people stuff. You know, when you look at Discord for really like young'uns, like Generation Z's and beyond that. I don't know what's younger than Generation Z. Generation Blob. I don't think it's a blob. But anyway, when you look at those guys, they connect. My daughter talks to people on YouTube all the time. She's got gacha tubers that she connects to. She's 9 and she has a great conversation with people. And yes, I do maintain vigilance of who it is. It's not some bloke. It's a kid. Okay, so headlines. You need to make sure that your headlines are good, otherwise people won't look at it. My headline today was very simple. It was this. Speaker influences in 2021. Speaker influencers 2021. Why would I put that? Very simply because I wanted you to think about, if you wanted to influence people next year, where do you have to be? 3 words, or what? 2 words and some numbers. Very simple. All right, so the headlines are important. Meta titles and descriptions, depending on what you're putting out there, but especially when you're putting stuff on YouTube, that's very important, because that's the bit that shows up when people hover over it or they get a glimpse of a title. It tells them more, and they'll look at that and decide whether they're going to waste time on something that they don't want or invest time in something that they really do want. And it's that kind of decision that they make. Okay, product descriptions, let people know exactly who you are and what you do. I have a very simple product description. I am an international keynote speaker, and I train international keynote speakers. I altered that from lockdown to being a virtual broadcaster, and I train people to be virtual broadcasters. That also includes speaking, but right now there are no speaking gigs, but people have to do a lot of catching up. So it does change depending on the times as well. Your social media posts have to be effective. Video scripts as well, web content, and white papers. White papers creating stuff that people would want to be able to use themselves, or they want to be able to read in entirety. And all these different things I've mentioned, there are all 11, are very, very different from each other. And I will spend sessions, if not shows, explaining how to do them really effectively and have the biggest amount of impact. So when it comes to this, content is content. Content is just posting stuff that hopefully people will like. Content marketing is different. Content marketing is creating stuff that helps to grow a brand and helps to market it to a group of people specifically who want to interact with that brand, not even that person. Does that make sense? Cool. Next up, let's look at being an influencer. I want you to always leave your comments, your thoughts, say hi, tell me what time it is if you want to, because we're going out to breakfast time in the UK and Europe, going out mid-mornings in the UAE and Middle East, going out to India, Pakistan, round about mid-afternoon, Australia, it's about early evening time. And in America, nobody's watching because they're fast asleep unless they're homeless. But if they are homeless, I don't mean that in a horrible way, then we're going to have to somehow get access to Wi-Fi. Otherwise, I can't watch a show. That didn't work, did it? Speak on stage. So moving on. Any minute now. Hello? Thank you. Sometimes there are challenges with a live show. You've probably guessed. Yes, it's a live show. And sometimes the bits freeze and they stick. As in the bits here. Not. All right, so how to be an influencer. 10 things you need to think about. And this is key for anybody who's just starting off. I'm going to start off with the basics. But you'll also get something out of it if you've been an influencer for some time, because you may be able to post stuff that gets a lot of traction. And there are simple ways of doing it. Make it so it's trending. Make it so it's what people want to read. Make it so it's funny. Make it so it makes people angry. Put in animals that somehow do stuff that humans do. Or make it so you tag everybody who's another influencer, so then they respond to it because you already have them tagging you on their stuff, and then all the people who follow them, suddenly it shows up in their feed and they go, wow, this must be another great person, and then they start following you as well. Those are the simple ways of doing it, but let's take it to the next stage. Those are interesting, you can still use them, but ultimately to be a new influencer, that's a micro influencer. And in fact, myself and Ernesto Verdugo on our TV show, The Toilet Paper Diaries, and the other one, Fast Forward, we're talking about the new influencer. What is their name? And we came up with industry forecaster. Somebody who specifically belongs to one industry or a couple, but really well known for one in particular. And what they do is they forecast where it's going in the future. Like a future thinker or a futurist. Does that work for you? Is that a good idea? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. What's a better term for a new influencer than a industry forecaster? I'd love to know. We're saying Oracle, but that's too branded. You can't say that. Because the thing is, for many influencers, and I don't mean to be horrible, because I mean, you do a great job and people love you, and you've earned it yourself, so you get all that. But it's also got a bad stigma in many ways. If you say you're an influencer, many people will like that, which is undeserved in most cases, because they work really hard to create that brand. But in some cases, it is 100% deserved. So first of all, know your brand. Know what it is that you're actually getting out there. What part of the world are you connecting with? And also, what is it you're sharing? Is it your background? Is it your experience? Is it your current job? Is it your hobbies? It should be something you monetize. In a future show, we'll talk about the things you can monetize. And the more niche you are, the more you're going to find a following that just loves your stuff and is willing to follow only you, because not many other people are delivering the content. So for instance, if you've got a show all about creating a garden inside your living room, and the plants that are good for the front room, that you don't have to maintain too much but look beautiful, so you can have them all around the place, and how you maintain them, and how you can change the decor around them, and how they give you a sense of calm, and how you can get them at a very cheap rate, and how you can, I don't know, I've run out of things to do with flowers, but you get the general idea. That would have a number of people who are interested in interior decorating, interested in flowers, living on their own, or maybe living with a family, and they want to make sure that it's all coming together. They would watch this show because it's something they can't get anywhere else. Even Googling might not produce the same kind of results because video is the content that they want. Does that make sense? Groovy. Okay, know your target audience. Know who it is you're broadcasting to. So many times, whenever I'm talking and coaching to speakers, who's your audience? Oh, anybody who, no, not anybody who likes. What do they look like? I don't know, I've never thought about it. Well, you should, because there's so much grey noise out there. Right now, when you Google something, the results don't mean you've got the answer. The results means that you got something that somebody's SEO'd better than the other person who SEO'd a potential solution. Yeah? So know your target audience. They need to know you. You need to know who you're aiming at. So be both a social media and an internet marketer. That's number 3. An internet marketer is a strange creature. In many ways, they have disappeared like the dinosaurs, but they were the originals who knew how to make fortune from doing certain things online, doing certain campaigns, emailing, video, all the rest of it. They are around, and they always leave clues for you to follow. So you should be aware of that, and also how it integrates with social media. The lockdown and quarantine worldwide, thanks to the pandemic, has forced people to look at social media as their friend. Not everybody's done it, but if you want to connect to the outside world and you can't really go out, kind of makes a difference. Okay, be an industry icon. I put industry icons because I changed the sentence. I forgot to go back and correct it. So don't be a generalist. Really do figure out what it is that you are going to be talking about, and choose your industry and own that industry. Be an expert, stand out, make sure people want to connect to you directly. If you don't do that and you say, oh, I do this and I do that, people don't believe you're the best authority on that, even if you're very good at different things. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a life coach, a business coach. I do a number of other things as a broadcaster, including many years working on radio as a station manager for a radio station for about 5 years. But that doesn't really matter because you're watching me to learn about speaking and communication and how to create virtual impact online. That bit is all I'm talking about, because that's a bit that is relevant to you on the show. If I was at a well-being conference, I might talk about hypnotherapy and life coaching and well-being, but I'm not, so I don't. All right, number 5, create systems and campaigns, not just content. That's important. You generate content that leads towards something that you're going to be using. So a campaign is to drive people to a certain thing. You create systems that people can look at and follow the path of breadcrumbs towards an end result. If you're just showing content and getting it out there every single day, it's really hard to curate yourself, and it's really hard to put together to actually turn into a coaching course or turn into a book or an audio or whatever it is you want to do. It's really difficult, so make sure you've got some kind of plan, or at least flag it up so you can see the title of everything if you need to go back and do it all again. Okay, be video editor. Be video editor. Be our video editor is what I meant to say, and a producer. It's a really, really difficult skill to be an effective video editor, but it's not difficult to start. I would suggest that you initially just follow watching videos all about how to edit on video. I edit everything on my Mac. I do it on iMovie. I can step up to other software, but the time I have to learn that and the time it takes to do this on iMovie is very, very simple. Plus, especially as right now my main content is this. So it's relatively easy to do like that. But you might find that you can't do it and you don't know how, but you want to get started immediately. Go to Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com or freelancer.com, or just look up freelancer. And there's a ton of virtual assistants, video editors, and people all around the world. You can transfer content to me, send it to them. They'll edit it and send it back to you for a very reasonable price while you learn to be an editor. Or you may decide it's not worth your time to do it and you carry on using their services because you're busy doing something else, like being a dentist, and you don't want to spend time editing videos. But editing videos is really relaxing, so I always recommend having it for therapy, if nothing else. Number 7, you live, you breathe, and you personify your niche. I don't think anybody who's watched this show doesn't believe that I'm actually a speaker. Why? Because I never stop speaking. And if you want to see the beginning of every show, I tell you all about speaking. I drop clangers and evidence all the time, because if you only watch the show for 2 minutes, any bit that you watch should let you know what my niche is and what my interest is, and it should instantly position me as what I do. Why am I saying that? Not to go, hey, Dave's great, but to tell you that you should be thinking about it. But it's not about the ego. You're also going to be humble. You've also got to be letting people know that it's for them, not you. All right, don't stray to other shiny objects. That means that you're on your niche and you've got it and it's working really well, and somebody says, what about this wonderful oil? What oil? This oil over here. You make a fortune if you sell that. Why is Aragorn the poster talking to me from Lord of the Rings on his horse with his sword? Google the picture. It's very cool. And why does he have the same voice as me? And why do I point at something that's over here when I'm going like that? Because there's a TV over here. So it's easy to go to shiny object syndrome, but that takes you off your path. And it also makes people think that maybe you're not as serious about your thing as you should be. Stick to your niche. Stick to your industry. If it evolves, evolve with it. I talk about speaking, but really I'm talking about speaking online and video, because the gigs aren't there anymore. They will come back, but in order to be an effective speaker, you should really be considering about the way that you are evolving your niche. Now, I was talking yesterday in a mastermind group all about the importance of where speakers are right now. And I know right now there's hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of speakers in lockdown, tearing their hair out and wondering where are we going with this, I have a solution. I will talk about that in a future episode. There is a business model proof of where speakers need to be next, and I'll show you how to get there if you're not there already. Interesting, isn't it? If you want to contact me directly because you're not sure, put it in there if you want to, or send me a message, especially on LinkedIn, or if you want to contact me through thedavecrane.com and say, Dave, I can't wait. Tell me, I'm a speaker. I'm eating my shoes. Where do we go next? What do I have to do to make sure I've got steady income? And I'll tell you that, but I'll save it for another show. All right, number 9, dollar bills, y'all. Look at that. The big S on my chest. I had it yesterday as a potential medallion. Like, remember, what's it called? Flavor Flav, who had a clock. And people didn't press his chest with a clock, but I've got this, which is kind of like Blade, which is like the poster that I have up here somewhere. Have you seen the Blade poster? It should be behind me. Have a look at that. Blade 2, see? See that? Blade 2, one of my favorite movies. And you're saying, Dave, please grow up. And I'm saying, no, Mum, I will never grow up. Not that my mum says it all the time, because I don't ask her all the time. So monetize everything. Make sure that you have a monetizable product. Don't get me wrong. This is not about chasing money. This is about understanding your value. Whether you choose to monetize it or not, you can choose. But you must also consider that if it's not worth something to you, nobody else will have an interest in doing it. And you'll be throwing out content and you're working really hard and nobody will pay any attention to it at all. You'll get frustrated and you'll have a waste of time. Does that make sense? Good. All right, number 10, have micro digital footprints. Small influence. Let people find you wherever you are. Your social media should lead towards you. Your website should lead towards you. The testimonials of others, the comments, the reviews of your stuff should all lead towards you. It don't have to be massive. You don't have to be a Coca-Cola. You don't have to be an Apple. But you do have to make sure, Apple as in Apple products, not like Apple. But you do have to make sure that people can find you and people can connect with you. Is this useful for you, by the way? Because I know that this is the stuff that I train my clients to be able to see, and we really work through with them. But I always want to make sure that the stuff that I'm sharing is of relevance to you. And also let me know which stuff works for you better than any other. And the more I know about it, the more I can get it right for you. So let's speak on stage. So if you want to be an industry icon and you're thinking, right, Dave, this is fantastic. How do I get to be faster? Do I have to watch your show every day? The answer is yes to that as well. But tomorrow I'm going to be late. Tomorrow I'm going to be early, actually. I'm going to broadcast earlier. I've got a group from 10 till 12 that I'm coaching all on Zoom. I'm going to be teaching them digital stagecraft. So I will either be going out after that, but I'll probably be tired. Or I'll do it before that, around about 9 o'clock. And you just have to find it in your subscription. So subscribe to me on LinkedIn follow me on LinkedIn or connect me on LinkedIn. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Befriend me on Facebook. And what do you do on Twitter? Drop eggs? That sounds disgusting. Anyway, do stuff on Twitter and Periscope as well. Industry Icon program is about getting you to where you need to be fastest. It's about working out your strategy, about getting you to understand who you are, what you are, who your clients are, where they are, getting the fastest route to market for them, and positioning you very quickly above the biggest names in your industry who've been doing it for many, many years, but only because their brand had allowed them, their company had allowed them, or just longevity had allowed them. We're in a situation, we're in a pit. We're not in a pit. Well, we might be in a pit. We're in a situation now where you can fast track really quickly. You can get to where you need to be seen by others as the very best in your industry, purely by working really hard on your brand, by looking at the things that you do that people are connecting with you and getting to make sure that when they do connect with you, it's worth their while. I guarantee that when you look at what you're doing and it gets the once over, at least for me, you go, wow, I was way wrong. That's why I'm frustrated. That's why it's not working. Industry Icon guarantees that's going to happen. If you're interested, contact me directly. Go to speakonstage.com and click on the Industry Icon details. You'll find there a Calendly link you can click on to arrange a 10-minute consultation. and therefore we can have a chat and see how we can get you onto a higher level with your brand, your marketing, and your positioning. Kind of cool, isn't it? The end of a show as my buttons are deciding not to work for me, but I don't care because it's coming to the end of a show. I'm starting very early tomorrow, by the way, and make sure you join me. I guess about 9 o'clock I should be broadcasting, which means I've got to get up super early to walk the dogs, make breakfast for everybody. I don't really make breakfast. My daughter made me paratha with egg and cheese today. It's very nice. It's gone. Coffee for the wife, and feed the dogs, and make sure that everything's in place so I can then come along and share brand new content with you. I hope you're enjoying everything I do with you, and I hope it has some worth and value and gets you closer to where you truly want to be, which is a speaker, communicator, an effective brand, and creating stuff that people really enjoy and engage with. If you're not doing that, then now's your time to think about it, because you may have time to pivot, but at the same time, everybody else is pivoting. So you may have gone, I understand, but I'll leave a little while. There'll be a ton of people who won't leave it, and they're acting now. That's why I'm going every day, and that's why you should move yourself closer to where you need to be every single day. I'm going to leave you with one of my music videos. This one's one of my favorites, Fair Play, all about what drives us. All my videos, by the way, get filmed in one take in the desert. I hold my phone, I talk to it, I ignore it, and then I send it to you. Have a wonderful day. Speak on Stage. Catch up with you soon. Look after yourself. I'm sorry. I didn't explain. I tried to motivate you and move you forward, but quite clearly all I brought you was pain. Tried to share some ideas, and I didn't do enough to show you what I really meant, because it left you feeling confused, and afterwards your brain was spent. And I should have used smaller words, and I should have been more than enough, but somehow it ended up making you feel bad, and it was kind of tough, and you wanted to have me stop and go back again, and maybe you weren't paying attention, and then you feel like you've stayed at school and you've been naughty and you're in detention, and you want to get me sharing with you more stuff, and I gotta do more for you. And you don't want to pay for it because, you know, I could get this off the internet too. But my friend told me this, and you know, the internet say kind of stuff as you, but I don't see why I should pay or I should make the effort, because I want it to come in a bottle as well. And if I get it in a bottle, I get it in a pill form, I'll never have to do much work. But it doesn't work that way. None of it does. If you want to get something out of life, you've got to get off your ass and move and see where you come from. You've got to make a decision. Where are you going to go? And how do you think they get there, all those stars? How do you think they get there, all those people who turn around and say, I'm amazing, I'm a Kardashian, I'm on the front of a newspaper, I'm on the front of a website, I'm an influencer, I'm a celebrity, I'm super rich, I'm super powerful. Do you think they all got it for free? Well, some did, and some didn't. Some worked their asses off, and some still do. And some people wait, and some people complain, and we don't realize how easy it is, and that might be you. One day won't matter, we'll have no time left, and people will say to you, did it matter to you how hard you worked? How many people helped you? And the answer will be no. All that matters is what did I get out of it? And the best way to judge is that smile you have right now, or that frown that won't go away. It's your choice. It's your life. And for me, yeah, I'm gonna play.